Hello, how is everyone doing? It is your fallen angel back with another video. Today, we're going over another facet of cunning. Today, it's specifically persuasion. Now, persuasion also ties into charm. The more charming you are, the more likely you can persuade someone, whether this be in politics, business, love affairs, anything. Persuasion and charm go side and side. So without further ado, let's just begin. Persuasion, the ability to make people perceive that you are credible, what you are saying is true, and the ability to change people's opinions is often a make or break factor. Now, the more credible you seem, the more cold and detached you are from the situation, the more you are persuasive, right? If you are forcing something down someone's throat, not only will they not want to take it, you will also try to hurt their ego in the process. So it's essential that you remain credible and cold and detached, and you can't be too lenient on the outcome factor. When you're super focused on the outcome factor, you're not going to get what you desire. Charm and persuasion are not the same thing, but they do correlate positively in the sense that if you can charm someone, the probability of them being persuaded by what you say dramatically increases. If people like you, they are inclined to think that what you say is true. And if they dislike you, they are inclined to think what you say is false. So likability has a factor in this, right? This is normative behavior, assimilative behavior, and FOMO. All three of these are mixed in together, right? When people like someone, they want to assimilate with their ideals, their culture, their everything about them. They want to assimilate entirely when they like someone. And when they don't like someone, their prejudice and biases will kick in. So it's essential that we use both in this art of cunning. Generally speaking, persuasion is a laborious and risky activity. Most people rarely, if ever, change their mind once their initial opinion has been formed. And if you attempt to change a person's mind, they are likely to be offended that you have expressed disagreement with their opinion they currently hold. Most people are ego invested in their opinions and beliefs. If you express any disagreement with them, they take it as a personal insult. So guys, for the most part, it's pretty difficult to change someone's mind when they have something set in stone, right? They look for confirmation bias to prove what they think is true. Oftentimes people do not looking for the secondary source or for the other opinion because it goes against the grain. It goes against what they already believe. This is why there's so much division in what we live in today. So much division politically, so much division ethnically, so much division everywhere because people have certain biases that have been fed to them since they were children. And it's very hard to move past this. But we on this channel know that there's plenty of ways to enter the human brain, whether this be through forms of mushrooms, whether this be forms of putting you in a trance state like a psychiatrist would. We understand that we can manipulate the human brain to do basically anything. But for the most part, when you're in a general census, when you're talking to someone, it's going to be quite difficult for a normative person, what we call a normie, to try and change a normie's brain on something because they're ego invested in their belief, whether this be a sports belief, a political belief. They are ego invested in this belief. So they will take any disagreement as an insult. So it's always not the best to try and persuade them, but to try and offer a different outlook in a positive way. We'll get into this soon. As such, in most situations, your best bet is to simply smile and nod. Maintain the pretense that you agree with their opinion, even if you don't. It is unwise to make enemies unnecessarily. So, for the most part, it's essential that even if you know you're right, and you know what they're spewing is nonsense, you're better off not trying to formulate an unnecessary argument because more than likely this argument will be a waste of energy on both ends because they would be unwilling to see your side of the argument because now they're not operating off what you said. It's now operating off you offended me in my ego and I refuse to see your point of view, right? This is not how we get their point of view across. We have to do this in a polite and gentle manner. This is how we really can enter their brain and put them in a trance state. Persuasion is laborious, not in the sense of being energy intensive, which it is also, but in the sense that it takes time. Most people who do change their opinion take a long time to do so, and your time would be better spent elsewhere. Only attempt to persuade someone if the matter is important enough, such that it is worth the time and the risk, and you are convinced you have a reasonable chance of successfully persuading them. So it's not necessarily we're looking for people that are malleable or people that want, well, malleable is good as well, but oftentimes we want to try to persuade someone that truly is listening and wants to understand your reasoning and is willing to accept nuance. This is the biggest thing we will have to understand in this lifetime, is understanding nuance. Everything has nuance. Everything has a weak point. Everything has nuance. So it's essential that we use our time and energy effectively when we are trying to persuade someone, because for the most part, most people, a strong percentile of people, are unwilling to change their opinions on matters, right? These biases, these prejudices have been built up for years and years and years. So it will take some time to rewire their brain to think elsewise. When persuading someone to do, when you're trying to persuade someone, be as gently and politely as possible. To be harsh or blunt when correcting someone or changing their opinion is generally ineffective. It offends their ego and causes them to instinctively reject everything you say. So when you're offering a new ideal or you're trying to show them a new perspective, we want to do this in the type of tonality where we're not judging them, in the type of tonality where we're just offering a new mindset. This is the same thing that therapists and psychiatrists are doing. They're not judging their patient. They're showing them a new outlook on life. They're just showing them, well, this may be different if you did this, right? Or have you seen it in this new form of light? When you try to attack them and their belief, their amygdala or their fight or flight kicks in and they go into fight mode. They're not necessarily listening. Everything blacks out at that point. They're not listening to what you have to say. It's about how you said it and tonality. So if you're in this case, nothing will be done at this point. Now they're just in a defense mode. We don't want to be them. We do not want to get their brain or mind in a defense mode. We want to enter their brain and put them in a trance mode to where they're more accepting to new ideals. So being as positive and gentle as possible will allow us to get our point across. And even if it didn't, we plant minute small seeds. These seeds grow over time. This is why I always tell guys always come and ask me, oh, I don't know how to get a girl. I don't know how to talk. I don't know how to cold approach. I always tell them, plant a small seed, right? Planting a seed wherever you go is essential. Just say something very minute. Hi, how are you today? Hi, I thought this was very nice on you. It's the little things that build up over time. It's not, hey, I want to marry you tonight and let's go have kids tonight. This is impossible. Now, when you think in those senses, it's impossible. When you plant these little seeds, hey, I think that you should see this and it has to be in a good tonality and it has to be in a good perspective. When you do these little seeds, these seeds become trees over long periods of time, because the more and more you reiterate them, the more it grows. This is the same thing with a thought process. We want the thought to become first a thought, then the thought becomes emotions that follow these thoughts, then they enter the manifested sphere. This is the art of persuasion and one of the cunning facets in its full entirety. It is usually ineffective to directly state that you think their current opinion is wrong. Instead, start by appearing to agree with their opinion. Then gently express how you think their opinion might be slightly wrong. Keep in mind we said slightly here, because when we intrinsically try to say that they're completely wrong, it's like we're judging them, right? And that's not the mindset we want to be at. When you try to make it seem like you're judging them entirely, not only will they not trust you, but you lose all the rapport that you were building up thus-wise. This whole time we're trying to build rapport and trust and try to build a paternal relationship where they see us like a father, right? We want to make them see us like a father, where we're not judging them, but we're also trying to help them. When we have them in this paternal type of view, it is easier to not only manipulate their thoughts, but also it's easier to help them see a new perspective. Directly expressing disagreement causes the other person to view you as an adversary who should not be trusted and whose words should be rejected. By appearing to agree with their current opinion, at least as a starting point, you cause the target to view you as an ally, someone who should be listened to. Now let's be honest, who would someone rather listen to? Someone they enjoy talking to, a friend, or an enemy that's being combative and dismissive? You ask yourself that. Of course you would like to listen to a friend or family member who is kind to you and wants to see you do better, opposed to some enemy that is being negative and trying to judge you based on what you think. It is often the case that changing someone's opinion totally is nearly impossible, but partially changing their opinion is doable. If a person insists that 2 plus 2 is 8, it may be impossible to convince them that 2 plus 2 equals 4. But a doable option is to convince them that 2 plus 2 is 7. A moderate step in the right direction is to 7. Is often sufficient for the purposes at hand. Getting them to the perfect destination is usually unnecessary. So just planting these seeds, right, and putting them towards the right destination, even if they never get to the full destination, is all that is needed in the art of persuasion, because just that minute little seed that we planted is now growing over time, right? We're entering their subconscious directly. Because remember, when they feel like their ego is being attacked, they will reject any notions. But if we feel like we're giving them this kind of ally view, it will slowly over time grow and grow and grow until it gets to where you desire. And with the more emphasis and with the more dedication you put in, the more you will see out of it. So guys, this was the art of persuasion, or the facet of cunning, persuasion. Feel free to like and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below. Check us out on Patreon, Rumble, Twitter, Instagram, things of that nature. This has been your fallen angel, and I am out.